buddy.
What up?
What's up, brother?
How are you?
I got to get one of these dope backgrounds, something like this green screen vibe. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
sick. That's so sick. Right now, all I have is just rainy Vancouver garbage. Here we go. So just that's the reality of where I How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I can't see you.
Oh, shit. You can't? Damn. Okay, let's see if we can fix that, brother.
I can't see the Vancouver garbage.
Oh, okay. You can't see. Here's the depression right here, guys. This is sad. SAAD, rain.
Oh my God, I love it. I fucking love it.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful here, but it's you know, it's a rainy day, so
I fucking love the rain. I want to move to Washington.
Oh, brother. Yeah, well, this is basically here.
Yeah. I used to live in Whitby when I was in the service. So I loved it.
Oh, shit. No.
Yeah.
Whidbey Island?
Whidbey Island, yeah.
Sick.
That was
brother. You were in the service, eh?
Yeah. For a little bit, like 12 years. And I got out.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh, well, I got to do something I love. I can't be, because I had to give up my career for my child, to be a dad. You can't be a dad when you're traveling, 9 months, 10 months out of the year. Constantly. It's like 10 months here, then you're back for a month, and then you go away for re-ups. And I couldn't have any quality time. And by the time I was back home, it was just so stressful. And then finally, at the end of it, when I'm about to go back, you know what I mean? I'm barely coming back to a little bit of normality. But I love this a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. So where are you now? Where are you based out of?
Like Los Angeles area, Ventura.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, California. So
Yeah. I heard it was crazy down.
Oh,
I'm good, brother. I'm good. Yeah, I heard it was crazy down there, though. Eh? You guys have been dealing with at least the optics of it look very, just sort of concerning to the rest of the world. Would you feel that there? Do you feel it, or do you feel as though you're not affected by it as deeply?
The things that I'm super concerned about in regards to Los Angeles, the optics of what was seen by the rest of the world.
Yeah,
I think that was more like it was real, 100%. But I think it was more like stacked on top of each other by the media to make it look like it's like this bigger. But most of it was peaceful, I would say.
Yeah.
However, with the things that are concerning is like any off ramp you exit, it's homeless. Underneath 100 tents under a city and under a bridge, and it's every single bridge.
Jesus Christ, man!
Well, we got to do something about that. I mean, as they're still human beings, we got to somehow gather together and see what we can do to help.
We've had the same problem up here in Vancouver. Actually, there's an area by Hastings Street. It's right downtown, and actually, believe it or not, it's next to the cop station, like a lot of these kind of camps are weirdly sort of positioned. And it's been harrowing over the last 15, 20 years. There's been documentaries made about this particular area, but it's just like to sort of what you're saying, it's expounded, into other neighborhoods and communities. And it's kind of like, taking over parks and taking over. And it's kind of like, I mean, it's pretty dire, man, because of the, the fentanyl issues and the opioid issues, and everybody's, a lot of overdosing. I mean, it's like, so, talking about legalizing and giving people, places to do their drugs safely. And, I don't know, maybe we start there. I don't know if you guys are sort of seeing that as well, but
I think Newsom put in like a couple, maybe a couple $1 million for free needles. I can see how that is good, but I can also see that is bad. I mean, I'm not a politician. These guys, although my heart yearns for a lot of these people.
Yeah.
I would love for us to really get a good group thing together,
Yeah.
and figure it out. It is sad though, man. It really it breaks my heart.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it. You were just like, look, we're not politicians, but I think we actually are all becoming politicians. Like weirdly,
Yeah.
the populism of like politics is like it's in just entrenched in every conversation. I talk to everybody, and I think that we all care really about like the quality of life we have, and we're being challenged with those decisions now that have to be made moving forward, how to take care of ourselves first and respect that, and thinking about capitalism and being respectful of like what built the wealth and the abundance, but also, we're having to address the ugliness of homelessness and, poverty and, depression, anxiety that we see all around us, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's we have to kind of, like you said, a group think, like things have to, and it's conversations like this, even little things like where you just, you
Just
bring
bring a little bit of
perspective
love.
to the, yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know
So,
what's crazy is
so no, it's,
I hurt my back when I was in the military, and they end up just
mm,
to medical, and they say, oh, here's 30 Vicodin, and I was a little kid, man, like
mm,
19 years old, and
yeah,
I'm thinking in my head,
yeah,
oh, I take this, and somehow in my body it heals itself. I
right,
didn't
right.
realize that it's just masking the pain.
That's right.
So then, like, 5, 6 years later, or 5, 6 months later, I'm taking 30 a day.
Yeah.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm lost. I'm like, oh fuck, what the fuck is happening to me? I'm not thinking the same way. I'm not feeling the same way. Every 2 hours I'm popping a couple of them, and
Yep.
then you realize, oh, you know what? I just turned into a drug addict, and then
Yes.
unintentionally.
Yep.
How many of that? How much is that's going on too?
Well, like, so when we started Revelation Theory, we were in New York and we moved. So Rich, my singer, he at the time, he's not singing with us anymore, but at the time, I mean, he's been the singer the whole time. And he met a manager in New York, and we had gone to college together up in Boston. And he was like, "Hey, man, I played this, guy some demos of ours, and he wants to meet you." So I was stoked. I was in Boston, graduated college. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do. I didn't really want to do anything. I was selling advertising or some bullshit job for the Yellow Pages, and literally drove to New York, like didn't even go back to work. I was like, fuck this shit. Like an opportunity, I'm taking it. And I met with the manager down there, and he was like the coolest fucking guy, such a good vibe. And I'm the type of maniac that um, that literally just wants to show you how, like, I was like, if it's hockey, I go full on. I'm fucking training every day. Like I go crazy to
That's
a
how I
point
am.
where like I literally practiced my guitar. I was like, I'm gonna kill this audition. I'm gonna crush this. I'm gonna be the best guitar player. Fucking, you know what I mean? And I practiced and practiced and practiced, and I fucking blew out I ended up getting carpal tunnel in my hand, and I ended up fucking up, and my shoulder was fucked from hockey. So I come down into the band, and I'm dealing with an injury, and we're starting a brand new band. You know what I mean? So I got a job down in New York, and I just played through the pain. I wore a fucking hand brace. I ended up getting a job, and I got a job at a car dealership. And if you know anything about car dealerships, they're like literally a fucking just toxic, like, just manglers. Like everybody's just fucking mangling all day long just to get through the day.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, homie had fucking a Vike. They called them Yellow Jackets, and he gave me M367s, which were my favorite Vicodins. Right, they were just the little amount of Tylenol, and they were just perfect. So he had these little Yellow Jackets, he had little M367s, he had a little fucking Johnny, you know what I mean? He'd give it to me. Boom, I take a little 3-pack combo, and I'm feeling good. I can go to rehearsal, I can feel good through the day, get through the day. Next thing you know, same fucking story. One a week goes to one a day, goes to 3 a day, goes to 5 a day. And that's all I got to. Honestly, I'm a little too sensitive to get to 30, but I know dudes like that you're telling me about your story that got to the 30. I know so many of those dudes, and you probably know them too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was because I just had to fucking deal with life. And at that time, life was, you got to get it done. You need to earn, you need to make money, you got to figure shit out, and you got to fucking write songs, and you got to show up to rehearsal, and you can't miss this shit, because this chance goes by. You may never get a chance this good again. And that's how I looked at Revelation Theory. And, you know, during that time, I kind of neglected actually getting the right treatment for myself. Do you know what I mean? I just relied on my own sort of bravado and my own, like, fuck it, I got this shit, and, you know, feeling good off the drugs. And that was very detrimental for me. Now I'm dealing with an incredible injury that was stemming from that time. You know, I'm dealing with a kind of a structural C-spine, thoracic spine injury that, you know, basically my whole body just went off the rails, because, you know, you're playing the guitar every day, it's pulling on your shoulder, and your hand's out of whack, and then your spine goes out, and then your head banging, and then it's like, you know what I mean? So yeah, dude, I don't think I'm alone. I think there's literally millions of these stories, right? Like, I think, like, you and me and guys like us, we could chop it up and just be like, yeah, I'll tell you something. I found cannabis, and cannabis is really the palliative care for all of these situations. Do you know what I mean? And I work in that industry now. And, you know, I do feel it gives you a bit of a pathway to, you know, profitability in your own health, at least, you know, maintaining a good, stable mood without being addicted to the, you know, the detriments of, like, the opioids and the harder sort of synthetic drugs. You know what I mean?
Yes. And that's what I do now. It's my T5 and T6 are herniated. I need to get a
Yep.
I need to get a some sort of surgery on it. But I don't
Yep.
I've heard so many bad stories about these surgeries. It's less than a 50% chance that they're gonna fix everything. And it's a greater chance for it to get
Yep.
worse. So I can, in the morning I'm good. You know, by 3 o'clock I'm getting, like, I feel like I'm going downhill. And then, you know, I get home at like 6,
Mm-hmm.
I smoke a J, and I feel good, man. I'm all back to normal. Then I start the magazine shit.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Yep.
I just work hard, you know. It helps me. And it's not this thing where there's a part of me that thinks that people are out to get me, or there's a part of me that
Mm-hmm.
is just
Mm-hmm.
snapping at everybody. You know,
Yep. Yep.
cannabis has saved my life.
Yeah. I was talking to my friend last week, and he's an artist in LA. He's been struggling with depression and anxiety because of this stuff. And he kind of was like, fuck it, I want to make art. I don't care about the corporate machine. I don't care about, and I went through this over the last 3 to 4 years. I just kind of threw it all away in a way that, because I was just so tired of the, you know, and I don't know if we can probably talk about this with your experience in your magazine and how you've been building it, and like, you know, seeing like the structures of it, how everything works, how slow everything works, the bureaucracy, the levels of, like, kind of smoke and mirrors and backdoor kind of relationship building and all of this stuff that has been
Yeah.
so kind of gross. He kind of checked out on that, and he basically went down a path where he was just like, you know, he was making the art he wanted to make. He's an incredible, you know, it's sort of doing portraits and writing music, and, you know, but he's got a son, and he had a story similar to you. He's like, you know, he's like, I got to tell you something, Jules. He's like, Jack Harrer, man. He's like, cannabis, bro. He's like, I found it over a couple months, 3 months now, you know, quarantine. He's just drinking and smoking his ass off like most people just to get through. But he's on unemployment. And the guy, you know, he finally had this epiphany. He was just like, you know, maybe I should work in the cannabis business. He's like, I believe in it. He's like, it works. He's like, it's working for me. It's literally helping me right now. Like not kill myself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's those type of stories, man, that, like, those anecdotal evidence that just really, you know, makes me believe that it is a drug that is worth, you know, being a part of this whole wave. And I don't know, are you in the industry at all, or do you do anything with cannabis
No,
other than just you?
I'm actually, I work for the government, so
Okay.
probably shouldn't be saying
I do too.
cannabis.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, I do too, brother. I work for the Canadian government. That's
Oh
weird.
no shit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I have definitely had some interest in it, but I don't know. My gig's way too good right now to give it up,
Mm-hmm.
to go into a different direction. I mean, it's not good enough so I can
Which,
just do the magazine full time. Pardon me?
yeah, yeah.
What'd you say?
What's the
I'm
day
sorry.
gig in the
Uh,
government? What's the day gig
I'm
in the government?
a QA manager for a a contracting company for the government that works on RF amplifiers. So they
Mm,
go inside of like bombs or um, submarines, airplanes, um, just things like that. So I inspect the inside and put it together.
damn, dude, that's fucking rad.
Pretty dope. Yeah, it's
That's
pretty fun.
really dope. That's really dope. Yeah,
What
yeah.
about you?
I sell weed at a local because it's federally legal here.
Oh, no
So
shit.
yeah, so we got government stores, and we're the first government store on Vancouver Island to open in like the world. That's a federal store. Like we're a pioneering place, and I'm just a weed dealer, like a fucking bud tender essentially. But we look professional, and the place looks like an Apple store. It's like they went all out actually,
Uh,
and
I can imagine.
yeah, it's dope. Yeah, it's dope. So
That's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
no, but it's cool. It's a cool industry, and I see it happening down. I see trending towards federalization down where you are as well, which I think would really help a lot of people. I really do.
I mean, even in
You know.
there's been there's so many positive things that would come along with it, a lack of crime, a lack of addiction, heavy
Hmm.
drugs, in
Hmm.
certain places. We've already
Yep.
seen that in California and Chicago, Colorado and Washington.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Hopefully it gets going in that direction. I would love to see it federally, because once it's federally open, I think a lot of people are going to heal. I mean, even up until COVID, I was lifting a lot, and it helped me, repair myself. So imagine these NFL players or
Hmm.
NBA or MLB or whatever it is, soccer. Instead of going to a doctor and getting some Vikes or whatever, you're getting prescribed cannabis, and it's actually helping you with REM sleep. It's helping the deep, your body really
Mm.
recover. So
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about
Yeah.
pissing up every month and a half or something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I do believe in it. I do think it is a bit of a um, gateway to the actual therapy we need, which there is the shroom boom happening on A and actually DMT, weirdly enough, but they're working on these trips before, which I'm assuming you might have experienced
Yes.
some mushrooms at some point. But
Yeah, man.
yeah,
That
yeah,
really helped me too, in a different
that's
avenue of my life.
in a different, yep, in a different way, exactly, in a different part of life, and they're offering it for older people now in palliative care, um, helping them deal with sort of more of a spiritual sort of reason to continue living. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I just think that those are even
Yeah.
more transformative. Yeah, far more powerful. But really at the core of it is there is a lot of fear and anxiety and depression, and those things need to be dealt with like a gym. You know what I mean? And I really do see these mental health fitness centers. I really hope that can be something where it's not so shameful and hard to get. You know what I mean? Where you can just go to the gym and I can go
Yeah.
and have like these conversations are that to me. Do you know what I mean? Like me
Yes.
talking to people about what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and that's kind of like working out. Like you put the work in, you're going to see the results, and um, it starts with just being honest about how you're feeling. And I don't think enough of us guys do that. And we'll swallow a pill before we'll say it or good. And I think that's that's got to change. I think that at the core of it, that's really the problem with, you know, where it needs to get to. So if cannabis and mushrooms and all of that can kind of shrink our egos down enough so that we can start addressing those issues, I think that that's hopefully the vision for the future.
Yeah. So with when a member leaves the band,
Yeah.
is there a part of you that is like heartbroken?
So we've dealt with this since 2012, 2013. And, you know, it's really tough, man. We didn't really want to fire anybody. We fired Ricky Licks. He was a hired gun, but Rich, Dave, Maddie, and me were together since the very beginning. And, you know, Dave was always just on the sidelines, kind of being okay with whatever route we kind of wanted to take. Dave was always Switzerland in our band. You know what I mean? So Dave was never really being creative, trying to make money off of creative stuff. And it ended up being Rich having other businesses in Miami and doing things outside of music that were earning him a good income. And he had a wife and he was trying to have a family, and he had other sort of obligations, ambitions. He had other agendas that he saw as his future. And we saw that as early as 2011, 2012. So the writing was on the wall. And, you know, instead of sort of firing Rich, who's one of my best friends, I just didn't have the heart. I didn't have the balls, to be honest. And Maddie and me, because we were getting fucked up. We were in LA. We were drinking our own Kool-Aid still. We thought we were kind of we thought our shit didn't stink. We had a cartoon idea that we thought was huge. People were telling us it was going to be huge. We had people interested in it. We were taking meetings with all these different people, like, you know, and like, it was just, you know, the usual. Smoke was getting blown up your ass, billionaires' houses, all this crazy stuff where they're throwing you parties and people are trying to offer you deals and this and that. And we thought, we're going to do the cartoon and we're going to, you know, whatever, the band can wait. And we just didn't really want to deal with Rich. And, you know, that didn't work out. It didn't happen. We failed on a couple different things. And when we came back to the band, Rich had already kind of moved on to some extent, but he still had a stranglehold on us as a business. Do you know what I mean? Like there was some spell that, you know, we made a commitment to Century Media to offer them a record. Rich was still involved. They wanted to do, like, people wanted to do business because of Rich. Like, Rich was the face of the band. Rich was a charismatic star, right? And every room Rich would walk into, people would be magnetized to him. And so every deal and every business thing we had a crutch where we needed Rich. And we got our deal with Century Media because they thought Rich was going to be singing on the record. And so we had already written the Revelation, which was pretty much the whole record. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the deal we ended up doing, this was our decision, was to have Rich involved because that's the way the label wanted it. So we had to get the vocals from Rich. So we had to have Rich sing on the demos that ended up being the record for the Revelation. So I know this is a long-winded way of sort of answering your question, but I just wanted to give you the context
awesome.
to sort of help set up. Yeah, for sure. And, you know, at the end of the day, we ended up just getting Rich on board. He said he was going to sing. It was really difficult to get him to LA to sing on the record. We finally get him to sing on all the records. We deliver the album and the label's like, okay, great. Record's great. We're going to get behind it. And you guys also, Rich, remember you promised us a tour. And that's where the darkness set in, because that's where Rich reneged to the president of the label, Robert Camp. And he said, I'm not going to tour. Right. And then that was it. That was the nail in the coffin for all of us, because we've been through the ringer with you, Rich. We've sort of, you know, we've been held by this, you know, sort of dictatorship of, you know, I'm the star and you can't do the business without me type thing. And we've put up with being late to sessions, not showing up, not being interested. You know what I mean? All of the stuff that we ended up enduring, choosingly. I mean, this is all on us. This is no one's fault. We chose to do this because we were fearful, possibly, probably insecure about our own abilities to do it alone without him. Do you know what I mean? Even knowing Maddie was such a beast, even knowing that Maddie and me could produce and write the music, we still were afraid of losing support of people, the public, you know. And what happened, yeah, it was just a tough time. So what happened was the manager at the time, he didn't see Maddie as the lead singer. The label was like, yeah, you guys can go out with a new band and this and that, but you're going to have to, we felt like, you know, basically that was it. And I walked away from the whole thing at that point. I literally was like, this is it. I'm done with Rev Theory. I'm completely done with it. And Maddie and me sort of broke up in a way, because I wanted to do my own thing and explore my own art, and took me down the path of the last like 3 or 4 years where, you know, I circled back to it. And this time around, it's like, you know, this is kind of how we're going to do it. And enough time has passed where it's been 7 or 8 years now, where I think Rich is kind of like, okay, you know, I don't really want to do a contract saying the Rev Theory will be this from now on. Rich will get this, Dave will get this and that. We have a bit of a handshake deal. And they're supportive of Maddie and me going out and doing it. And you know what I mean? So when you ask us, is it hard to lose a band member? It's excruciating to go through a breakup. Like, this is the first divorce of my life. And it took me probably 7 years, right? Since sort of was aware of the person cheating on me, to actually going through with it, actually, you know, and I still haven't signed the paperwork. I still won't, because part of me doesn't want to go and be that guy. Like, even my manager, I don't want to go do paperwork with you. I trust you because I trust that that still exists. And I trust, Rich, that you're not going to come and just charge me with some litigation saying that, oh, Maddie and Jules owe me this much money and this, that, and this and that. I believe that there's still good in people. And I believe that you can do a divorce in a healthy way. Do you know what I mean? And sort of come full circle to sort of, you know, bring it to where we are today. That's where everything's at. And I have the levity, I have a little bit more gray hair, and I have a little bit more, you know, less fucks to give right now in my life, that I feel as though those morals and that integrity is worth more to me. And I think that those guys respect that. And I hope that moving forward, like, you know, they'll hear this and they'll understand that that's where I'm coming from. Do you know what I mean? That, like, I love you, we're moving on. You know what I mean? And Maddie and me are going to take the reins. We're going to do the legacy here. We believe in ourselves. We've built the muscle up, and we're feeling as though, you know, we don't necessarily want to be charging anyone with some paperwork to say, hey, you guys are fired, or you guys are, you know what I mean? And it might come back to haunt me in the future. I don't know, but I just believe in people more than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. What brought me to that question is because, like, the other, like, big you know, moment in my life where you brought up mushrooms is a big depression. And we had a podcast going on, and it was such a great podcast, man. We started this like 2008, and it went to 2016, and I lost, you know, people from that, and that spun me out, man. It just, and the only way for me to get out is psilocybin. It really made me sit down and look myself in the eyes and let me know, like, me telling me that you're fucking up. Although the catalyst was just some bullshit too. Like, we ended up getting on FM radio. Like, that's what happened. So in 2016, we have a podcast. We win as a podcast. We got the best. We won an award for the best music or radio station, like competing against every radio station in our town. And you know, Ventura, Oxnard, Santa Barbara. And then we got on FM radio in Santa Barbara. And that's when everybody just spun out. Like, the mentality, oh, it's me, or I'm the reason why that we're successful. Not, but like, people that are around, everyone's thinking it's because of them. and then I end up saying, listen,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be great without anybody. Because no matter what, because the show
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
celebrating local music. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of people doing that,
Mm-hmm.
or underground music.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just different,
Mm-hmm.
and it was appealing, and it was comedy. And I end up spinning it. I said, listen, it's not because of anybody. I said, this right here is the spirit, and the spirit of our show will continue even if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not there or you're not there. And then that just fucking that just pissed off everybody. And it literally split. Half of the show went that way, half of the show went the other way. And it fucking just broke my heart, man. It's one of the most difficult things I've ever dealt with in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
even when I hear that, like when I hear what you're going through, I know, I feel the pain in your heart. It is like a divorce, like you were saying. That's your first divorce.
Mm-hmm.
And even and
Yeah.
what you were saying too about just having faith in people and
Yeah.
just going, I love that, dude. I love that. It makes me love you so much more that you said that.
Thanks, brother. Yeah. I mean, I've been going through wrestling with all of this now, you know, like, why are we even doing this? You know, and I think about it all the time. Actually, I think too much. I'm alone a little bit too much to think about it, but I do, you know, question intention, and I question kind of what it is and why it is we do things like in general. And mushrooms made me do that. Like, you know, you're saying like, and I don't know, are you still friends with those guys, or did that end up spinning out and now you're still estranged from the guys you started your podcast with?
Um, so there's still one guy I I'm not ready to forgive yet.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else, I've sat down with them. You know, I said, I want to buy you dinner. Can I have a moment of your time? And I just spilled out my heart, and I let all of them know that, you know, you meant a lot. I was broken by this. And I just, if anything, I just want to be your friend. I want to be able to text you when I see something funny, or I want to be able to talk shit about football, or, you know, I just, that piece of, that it was missing in my life, and I wanted that back with a lot of the friends.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it's tough with Rich too. You know, the thing is, I love Rich, um, like a friend. We went to college together, you know, and
yeah.
if it wasn't for Rich, I wouldn't be here. You know, I wouldn't have had this life experience, and Rich is such a big part of it. And he's got a family, and I love his kid, and I love his wife. I mean, they're just, he's got a good thing. And I love his family. I love his mom and dad. Like, they let me live with them, you know, like they're still to this day some of the best people, you know, that I know that I've ever met, you know, as far as good people. You know, when you start a business, which is what this is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you start out making music because you love the bands you love. Like, that's really why you do it. You don't do it because you just want to make money. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And at some
Never.
point, never, right? And at some point, and we started a podcast too. We had an experience doing that, and that was an incredible. I loved that, and those guys I'm still friends with. But that was, we were a little bit older, and it just came down to, you know what, this is a lot of work, and the potential is the money's not really, you know, worth the work. And I think a couple of us felt like that. And then, but that was a business decision. And I think we had a little more experience. But when Rich and me started, we were 2002, and we were just out of college. So we really didn't have a lot of experience with business. We didn't have, you know what I mean? And we relied on our managers and, you know, all of this to, you know, and I think we relied a little too much. But, you know, the thing about Rich is that when you do a business with a friend, it gets muddy, right? The friendship and the good times, and the, you know, I'm here for you, you're for me there. And people, there's a ledger. Sometimes it starts getting made of, you know, just sort of infractions that you're this guy's he's taking advantage of me here a little, he's taking advantage of the situation a little bit, you know, but you're like, okay, well, we chalk it up. We're a team. You know what? Every team and every family's got a bit of dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
You look
That's
at
the exact
your
thoughts I
royalty
was in my head.
statements, and, right?
Exactly. As if you're
Right?
reading my head. I swear to God. I just didn't want to say that. But that is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
you've been through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been through it. That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works. And that's how every band works. And that's how all of these organizations work, where it's like, you know, and then someone takes more pride, and maybe like what happened was is we enjoyed a certain part of the process that maybe, you know, he didn't feel as though he was contributing enough to. So maybe he felt like, so then it gets into the ego, and the ego part of it is like, that's the ugly part where,
Yeah.
you know, you do things that you actually don't, you probably wouldn't do if it wasn't you. You know, and if it wasn't your ego running you and you were looking at another person, you'd be like, well, it's kind of irrational what's going on. You know what I mean? But the fact that it is you, and you inflame and react to certain decisions that are made because, you know, maybe you don't, you know, feel like you have the, you know, the control that you want, or maybe you're insecure about your own abilities, and we're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Do you know what I mean? Like I was, you know, faking it till I made it, you know, and now today I can actually say, you know, I'm not a fucking great guitar player, bro. Like I never have been. You know, I'm a monkey, but I have an instinct for rhythm and sound and tone. And I like to write melodies, and I like to write. I'm a writer, so I write lyrics. So those are things that I bring to the table that I'm proud of, that I know as an artist today I can stand and say, you know, these are things I've really worked hard at over my life as a career to put those skill sets together. But, you know, 10, 15 years ago, we were just in a room with people trying to pretend like we knew what we were doing. So sort of charge the younger versions of ourselves with this kind of, you know, these, you know what I mean? These sort of like allegations that this person was this and this and that. And, you know, so those things start building up over time. And like you said, I mean, and then sometimes the levee breaks, which obviously happened with you guys, and it happened with us, where we just had enough. And then our reaction to it was so unhealthy also. You know, we were in LA and we were like, fuck it, party, blah, boom, bang, chicks, blah, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, whatever. And it just was not a very, it's terrible. You know, like I wish I had another chance to handle that professionally. Um, you know, which is kind of why we're doing it again, because I do feel like we still have a base, we still have fans,
Yeah.
we can still make music, and I do believe Maddie's a star. I do believe in myself, and I do believe we've made the necessary changes to our organization that allow us to move forward in a healthy way. So,
And that's what I did. So I had a no cover magazine, and then I had a podcast called Red Light District Show. So I just stopped Red Light District Show, and then I turned it into No Cover Podcast. So in my, I thought in my head like, oh, I know what to do now. And like you're saying, I'm old, you're older, I'm older. You understand the mistakes you made in the past, and you try to move forward by not making those same mistakes, and having faith in the organization, have faith in your band, that going forward, it's going to be this great experience that you know how to deal with this time.
I'm hoping so. I mean, when you were talking earlier about, you know, not being able to be there for your kid, it kind of, you know, because I'm also at an age now where I would like to have a family, you know, and I have had some normalcy living in a place for over a year now and not leaving, you know, and there's something grounding about that, that we had talks with an agent last week. And, you know, when I first started this, I thought when I started this back up, my challenge to myself on the business end was, I don't think this industry is being run the right way. Like,
Oh,
I really don't. I don't think any of
for
us
sure.
do. Yeah, and I think you've seen it.
I see it every day.
You see it every day, right? So sort of feel as though I have to tour in order to make the money. That's where the gold is. So if you're not touring, it hobbled the whole industry. One thing COVID did was basically just you know, now, you know, Elton John's on Zoom playing. I mean, this is not looking good, guys. Like, this is just looking terrible. It's sounding bad. Gaga. I mean, everyone looks the same, you know, and yeah, you get some VR going. Yeah, you'll get some higher end lighting and some better sound and maybe 360 sound. But, you know, like the medium to deliver the message is still the phone primarily. And it kind of looks like shit typically. You know, the fact that we're just talking through this and that people are going to consume this, that I'm away from you and I'm not in the studio with you, like that's going to be acceptable. So, you know, that kind of happened with COVID, and it really exposed what I've been feeling for a long time, which is that the industry has no idea how to make money without touring. And so we're all being challenged now to figure that out. So when we had a call last week with the booking agent, it was like, in my mind, I'm like, why are we going there so soon? Like, have we not forgot like what the MO was here? Or maybe this hasn't been established, but it is the, how do we make money off of our recorded music when we have access to distribution now? So we never had that before, and now we finally do. There's no middleman, there's no smoke and mirrors, and all the DSPs will play your music because, you know, you have a baked in fan base and you just have to make relationships with them. And I want to prove to the industry and to myself that you can actually make money on your recorded music before we have to go out and tour to support it in order to make the money that's really being made. And I just think that there's something a little off about that we have to make these decisions. And, you know, for the record, I said stuff like this all along the way with Interscope, where it was like, guys, for the record, 3 ballads on your first record as a metal rock band is not cool. Like, I'm sorry. It's just no rock metal band had 3 ballads on their first record. Like, you know what I mean? Like these little statements along the way that were democratized out and the decisions weren't made. Like I feel like we're going through that a little bit right now. And so I'm having a tough time. I'm also excited that booking agents want to book us and see value in where we're providing value. I also get caught up in the excitement of, fuck, man, we could make something cool live again. And fuck, maybe there's some money in that too. You know what I mean? And then maybe that's a good function of your business. But I'm also thinking, it's kind of like you're just kind of blowing your load. You're just kind of bending over and pulling your pants down and being like, here you go, guys. This is how it works, right? This is usually how it works, right? Everyone just take advantage of the fact that we're a band that has some presence. It's like, no, I think there's a way to build it where the sound is so unanimous in certain areas that it's like, you have a #1 song in Germany and someone's willing to pay you X amount of money to go there. Not that maybe the Netherlands will pay you a little bit of money to come and you'll go to Switzerland and this, and you got to build it slowly and all this stuff. It's like, I just think there got to be a better way. And I still believe in that.
You guys have done really well
So
making money outside of just touring and album sales, right? I know that Randy Orton has a song of your guys's. Did you guys write that specifically for him?
is that we never wrote it. We never produced it. We didn't play on it. We didn't do anything.
Voices?
We didn't reap one benefit from that song other than listenership, but we don't get the pays for that. So at the end of the day,
to WWE?
The WWE approached us because we had done a couple things with them. And the WWE said, you know, there's a wrestler. We have Jim Johnson, the writer for the WWE for their music, wrote a song called Voices, and we want you guys to produce it. And at the time, it was an amazing opportunity. It was like right on. So we went into the studio and Maddie and me tried to produce it. And honestly, we fucking failed. We didn't do a very good job. We should have hired somebody, but our egos got in the way. And what we turned over to the WWE wasn't good enough for them. And so Jim Johnson ended up producing it himself, which is what you hear. And Rich sang on it. And that's Voices. So we never got any credit on the production, on the writing of it. Rich basically just sang a song, and it's Rich from Rev Theory singing for the WWE. So that song never really did anything for us other than, you know, gain us notoriety. But some might say in the credible realm, for the negative. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to come back as the Voices band. It might be hard to come back as the Hell Yeah band. I mean, we're seeing if that's true. I think it's true in North America because I think we've had an expiration date here and we smell a little bit like cock rock. So, you know, that song set the tone for us here. And what we're up against now is you're seeing it, that people are seeing us as part of the Hinder generation, Buck Cherry generation, and that sort of cock sniff, butt rock, whatever the hell was going on back then that we sort of bought into for a bit. We ended up getting a little bit labeled like that, a lot of it labeled like that. So now moving forward, I'm looking at the rest of the world as like the other countries they don't know who we are. They have no idea. Maybe they know, but there hasn't been this like huge billboard on Sunset like these guys. We haven't been on Jimmy Kimmel. People don't care. We haven't had the big push anywhere else in any other country. So I do feel like our biggest potential right now, you know, using Voices and that worldwide notoriety from that song and from Hell Yeah is going to be, you know, in the rest of the world.
Especially like the Hell Yeah, Blue Mountain State used that one. Right. And so is there money in that in song placement, or is that more of, you know, it was at the beginning, so we're trying to just get on the map type thing?
Well, that song actually, so it only was 3 seasons of a show and we all loved the show. It was an awesome opportunity.
Funny, huh? It was awesome.
Fucking awesome. It's fucking awesome. It was great.
It's literally my favorite comedy of all time.
Yeah, and you're not alone. It's got a huge cult following. So the fact that it only made it, so you asked about the money, but you know, the fact that it only made it to 3 seasons, when a show gets to the 4th, 5th, and into the 6th season, each time it picks up a contract, the money gets exponential as far as the payout to the band, because it becomes more valuable. And if the show goes into syndication, you make Friends type money.
Yeah. Fuck you money, huh?
Right. So the idea that, I mean, you know, the Friends cast makes the fuck you money. The Rembrandts probably make good money too, but you know what I mean? Like we would have made way more money if the show kept going. But the fact is that the show didn't, and it got cut at 3 seasons. So we really didn't make anything. You know, we got a
tragedy too. That's such a great show. And
exactly.
No one picked it up.
I'm shocked.
And then they went to the movie, which the movie was okay. You know, it wasn't the ending I wanted for all those characters.
Yeah. Well, you know, the tragedy of that was, so we were talking to Alan Richardson, who's Thad. He's actually a friend, right?
Alan's my buddy too. Telling us that if you see him, ask him about me.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome, brother. Yeah, he's a fucking great guy. I mean, we stay in touch on email just because he's hit me up for some stuff, and we were corresponding on Hell Yeah, because he wanted Hell Yeah for the movie. So we were like, absolutely. And fucking our publisher said no to the money. They had $5,000 to pay us. That's all they had. And the publisher said no. It wouldn't even take $5,000. And we were like, what the fuck, dude? So the movie suffered because they didn't have the song. We suffered because we didn't get the payout, which wasn't great, but it was money. It was something. And so that just shows you how fucking inept and how obtuse the whole industry really is. I mean, they're so high on their own Kool-Aid. Yeah. Like it's so fucked up. And you know, this sounds like a jaded, cynical rock guy, older guy, gray hair talking, but I also think that there's real paths to changing this right now. And that's kind of what I'm campaigning for, with newer technologies that allow people to really have more of a say in what goes on, and including their own band. You know what I mean? The fact that we couldn't even make that decision when we wanted to for Alan was a travesty, bro. And everything suffered because of it. The art suffered at the end of the day because the business failed them. And that's, you know, that's a story you're going to hear over and over again.
You can't have that, you know? Yeah. You won't have that. They only, I mean, and to have you guys not in it, it fucks the fans.
It fucks the fans. The movie wasn't as good. I'm sorry. If it started out with that fucking song, everyone would be
Oh my,
juiced.
everyone would just lose their shit. You know what I mean? Wow, 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 wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so you have a new single, "Remember Me,"
Yeah.
and dude, that's an anthem already.
Thanks, brother.
I
Appreciate
don't
it.
know what it is. You guys are, uh, you guys to, you guys fucking do it every time. Like
Thanks, brother.
anytime I listen to almost any of your songs, I fucking fall in love.
Thanks,
And
man.
Remember Me, that can be like a pregame warm up.
Yeah,
Um,
man.
it can be like a WWE wrap up for a pay-per-view feud. It just can be anything, and anyone. Like I coach football, and I
Oh,
put it
sick.
on my playlist for the boys, and
That's
they all dig it.
awesome, brother.
They're
Thank
all high school, ninth, 10th grade.
Nice. Fuck,
So,
that's awesome, man. That's so good to hear. Yeah, I mean, the fact that that song is, that's a song that Maddie and me wrote and produced ourselves for the first time. It was a song that we actually made in our bedroom together. Like, he was in his bedroom, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, had a studio in his bedroom, and he was writing the riff, and we were in Silver Lake, and I heard it through the walls, and I just fucking came in and we started writing the tune. I was like, this is sick. And I was just started, like, spitting the Remember Me lyrics, and within a week that song was finished. That was 2013, bro. That was 2013. So we wrote and recorded that in a week in 2013, and that song has sat on the shelf for 7 years, just sitting there. But what I will tell you is that I still listen to the song. So for 7 years, I will listen to that song at least once a week. Like, there's just something about it that makes me feel like, I'm like, I like this song. It's rocking. It still rocks. It's
fucking
still badass.
my
You know what I mean?
soul.
It's right. It's got something that I still like. So if I feel that way, that's why we put it out. Because we're like, if we still feel that way, first of all, we do feel, it's like, to your point, it does touch on a couple of different topics, which, one is the legends never die. Remember me. I'm going to fucking, there's this kind of like, I meant something in this world. There's also a bit of a tongue in cheek in the lyrics that is like, remember me with a question mark, where it's like, hey, a bit of a joke to hell yeah. Like, we are the revelation. We're not just Rev Theory, but we're Revelation Theory. And that's the little kernel of the truth that we wanted to slide in the song, that people, whether they know it or they not know it, that we are Revelation Theory. Whether you think we're Rev Theory or not, it stands for revelation. And that's sort of the wisdom that we're trying to get out in that tune, and sort of pollinate to the rest of the world.
Fucking A, dude. Um, is there a part of you like that? Like, this is 7 years ago, and this is
Yeah.
great. Is there a part of you that's like, oh fuck, can I do it? Can we make another dope song?
Not really. I'm dying to do new stuff. I mean, I honestly think this stuff is like, and you never know. I mean, maybe this song becomes a hit and it becomes so, I mean, listen, it would only be an incredible problem to have, is if it became so big that we couldn't like, create more music. That would be, because right now we're known as the Hell Yeah Band, and our manager Dino was just like, he's like, you know what? You just need to do something that's bigger and better and more badass than Hell Yeah, like, to the world at some point, right? Like, so that you're known for that. And that's what we're working on. And if it's Remember Me, that's great. But, we have probably 6 or 7 more tunes that are written, have equally as much quality in them. You know what I mean? That we wrote 2014, 2015. And then if you talk about today, like, as a writer or a creator or producer, it's like, I mean, I've already written 7 or 8 songs in the last 2 months because I'm so inspired about what Remember Me is doing, that I just feel like Maddie and me haven't even written a song together in 4 years. And we're both evolved as far as our life experience, and our intention of what it is we want to get out of it is so much more refined and pure at this point, that I'm not saying that we're going to, our best shit's ahead of us, but I do honestly feel that we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't feel that way,
Yeah, it is. Here's what I want to do, man. I want to give you guys the cover of my December magazine.
Dude, that's awesome, brother. Thank
I
you, man.
want, I appreciate it. I am so inspired by this and our conversation, and
Thank you, man.
it definitely deserves a big spotlight. Um, so that's what we're gonna do. Um,
Dude, thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate it, man. So good
oh
to
shit,
get
I
to know
do.
you. You know, I
Oh, it's
really,
awesome
yeah,
too. And you're welcome, dude. Thank you so much for being so candid and like we really talked on real shit. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, what's your favorite artist or you know what I mean? Some bullshit. We really talked on real topics.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and
yeah,
hopefully whoever hears this or the
yeah,
transcription of this could it'll help somebody become that might be dealing with depression or that might be dealing with opioid abuse or you know who are heartbroken from a friend or a relationship or business or music and we touch on so much. um
yeah,
do you remember
yeah.
No Cover at all?
You know what? I do remember the name. I do remember you guys, and
The
you know,
Jägermeister tour?
my mind. Yeah, was that in Ohio or where were we? Were we
Yeah,
in
Ohio, I
California?
think. Remember
Yeah, because I do.
we were the official program for it, for the Jaeger tour.
Yes, that was the Hinder tour.
Man, we got so much money from that shit. Take it from a guy who never makes money at anything. We
Yeah,
got
yeah,
money.
yeah. They paid. They
Yeah,
paid. Yeah.
it was the first time I was like, "Are you sure? Sure you want to give us money?"
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, dude, congrats. That's great. I wish I had that. I only had the feeling a couple times, but that's awesome. That's such a good thing to hear, you know, that you guys had a bit of a windfall there. That's awesome. That was a great experience. You know, I do remember the name. I do remember you guys. You know, my recollection of all of that stuff is a little blurry overall. And
Yeah.
so I'm far clearer headspace that I 100% will never forget this time around. That's for sure. So
Well, dude, thank you so much. Thank you for your
yeah, brother.
hanging out with me on a Sunday afternoon. And
Absolutely.
I'm gonna add you on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Add me, brother. I'm on social. My Instagrams, just my own personal ones, and then also the Rev Theory ones. Just stay in touch with us, and let's just keep the conversation going, brother, because we've got to stay healthy here, you know?
Yes, and this was like literally one of my favorite interviews I've ever done my entire life.
Dude, thank you, man. I appreciate it. It means a lot.
All
Thank
right,
you so much.
brother.
Good to talk to you, brother. Keep
It's
keep it
awesome.
up, man. I love it. I love what you're doing, and it just means a lot for music. So keep doing it, brother, for sure.
All right, for sure. Good luck with everything, and
All right,
you'll hear from me around December time with your magazine.
awesome, brother. Thank you so
All right,
much.
have a good
Peace.
one, bud.
All right, you too. Bye.